Our first guest this morning from the Alchemy Theater, Dan Hager and Stephen Vance. Guys, welcome in. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks so much for having us. Happy to be here.
And I love the idea of this show that they're working on, an old-time radio show. That is so cool. It's got to be a lot of fun working on it.
Now, this one has been an absolute blast. So we're starting with some really great material. So we've got the classic Sherlock Holmes story, A Scandal in Bohemia. Ooh. We've got a classic all-American poem, Casey at the Bat, adapted and expanded to be a full play, and then we end up on Treasure Island. So just a good adventure. So they're just timeless stories, fun for the whole family. But the way we're going about this particular one is extra special.
Yeah, that's what we want to find out.
Why is that?
So for this particular one, rather than having it all staged and acted out, the actors that are going to be participating are doing it as voice actors to recreate what one of those old-timey radio productions would have been like. But for the sound effects, instead of just relying on all sorts of computer-generated stuff, we're actually making the sound effects live right there on the stage as part of the performance.
Cool. And we're watching rehearsal. Okay, there's some of the sound effects right there.
Yeah, how do you recreate some of these? Like, what are you doing to achieve that?
We try a lot of things and see what works.
Okay. Trial and error. Gotcha.
Because we're doing Treasure Island, there's musket sounds, and we have gone through 3 or 4 different iterations of that. Everything from those little snappers you get at 4th of July to now we're using a pencil and a cardboard box, and it's given the right sound. And the hard one for me has been the ocean. So what we ended up doing was taking sandpaper and rubbing it across the box, and it gives a really, I can control how loud and how fast it's coming.
Yeah,
it's
like
cool.
The tide is rolling in, and oh my gosh, that's so fun. And I think this is going to be one of those where in the audience we're going to be watching the sound effects crew as much as we are the actors who are reading.
Yeah, you definitely will be. Although the actors are fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
But that's going to be a huge part of the fun when you see the way that home run gets hit or that musket gets fired. That's going to be a big part of the appeal, to actually be there live in the audience getting to see this show happen.
Gosh, that's exciting.
So have you had to bring on some extra cast members for this one, for people to do the sound effects and then to have the actors?
So Nora Ingram and I are doing all the sound effects.
Okay.
Dan, this is his first show with us. His children have done shows with us. So, so we're really excited to have him, because he's been hanging around the theater a lot, and we're like, it's time to come on over. This is a cast of over 20. Because there's so many parts to fill. And so we're doing a lot. It was a nice way to introduce people who did not have stage experience to a little bit what it looked like behind the scenes.
Exactly.
Well, and what a way to challenge your creativity too, right? Like, I feel like you can kind of stretch the boundaries here and play a little bit, you know, in a different sense than maybe just a typical theater production.
Well, how many different characters do you play in this?
Yeah, so I've got 4 different characters across the 3 different productions that I'm part of.
How do you keep all their personalities straight? Like, how do you not mix and combine some of them?
Fortunately, the stories are so different that it's easy enough to sort of find a little niche in there. But part of it is that while some of us don't have theatrical experience, we're surrounded with such prodigiously talented people there at Alchemy. Because we've got a mix of everybody from Marshall students that are studying theater to people that are retired, people that have had lots of stage experience, to many of us where this is our first show. But with such great direction and such a great group of people, the final product is so entertaining, and everybody that comes to see it's just going to have a blast.
Well, and I like that you're proof that, I think sometimes people think, oh no, like, I can't do theater anymore, like once you hit a certain age or something, but like, I love that that's your first show.
Yeah, and that's been a big part of the fun with it too, is my kids have had so much fun being a part of Alchemy Productions. When they heard the Old Time Radio Classics announced, they said, Dad, with those bedtime stories you do all the time, you've got to go try out for this. And there's a few of us that are in similar situations where Alchemy used our kids to get us hooked. So we're excited to be there.
I have to say, I auditioned because I thought this could be really fun. I really did.
She had a great audition. She was a wonderful reader.
Why didn't you do it?
Because they practice all the time. I mean, this crew, they are dedicated, and I'm like, I don't have time.
Were you doing a voiceover part or the sound effects?
No, voiceover. But the sound effects would be fun too. But I thought, wow, I just don't have the time. But someday, when I have more time, I would love to join the crew as well. But yes, I know it's going to be great.
I'll just have to be the one that keeps nudging you.
Yes,
there you go.
Try out again.
Everybody needs that person.
So when's first performance?
This Friday.
Friday's opening night?
Yeah, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We do 2 weekends. Fridays and Saturdays at 7:30. The Sundays are matinees at 2:30.
Oh, wow. Lots of opportunities to see it or see it over and over again. Best of luck on your first show.
Yes.
And Stephen, I mean, it's going to be a fun one to watch you and Nora over there with all the different items to make the sound effects.
So much.
We don't have to tell you, but have fun with this one.
Thank
We
you
can't
so
wait to see it. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, coming up on Studio 3, we've got a Food Network.